You're watching Alabama's WVUA News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Tamika Alexander. Today marks what would have been the 77th birthday of one of Tuscaloosa's most important civil rights leaders. His name was T.Y. Rogers. The former pastor at the First African Baptist Church was a leader during a historic day in Tuscaloosa history. WVUA's Travis Leader joins us now with more in tonight's top story. Travis?
Thanks, Tamika. T.Y. Rogers was recruited by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to become pastor at First African Baptist Church in downtown Tuscaloosa. And the march Rogers led to the county courthouse just blocks away on one Tuesday morning will be remembered by many as one of the more important civil rights moments in Tuscaloosa's history.
He was a man before his time, a great leader. A leader who can have other people follow and support him and his ideas, which was the right ideas.
Harrison Taylor was only in high school on Bloody Tuesday when T.Y. Rogers led an effort to integrate the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse.
They were going to do the march and they were going to take the beatings, and then after it was all over with, they were going to take us to the courthouse so that we could see the signs removed.
Dozens were arrested and hospitalized that day. Those efforts, though, were not made in vain, according to now City Council President Taylor. He believes the march not only helped spark integration in Tuscaloosa, but he believes he wouldn't be where he was today if it weren't for leaders like Rogers.
Back then, we were just trying to make it to the courthouse under T.Y. Rogers' leadership. And look what happened today. We had about 6 people work downtown, and they was janitors or cooks or whatever. But look at it today. Nobody would have dreamed of this day.
And it's Rogers' message that resonates with many during that generation. And it's a message some continue to spread to their children and grandchildren.
Let them know that they can be somebody. To not let nobody tell them that they can't.
Born in Sumter County, Alabama in 1935, Rogers died well before his time in an Atlanta car accident more than 4 decades ago in 1971. His legacy lives on in Tuscaloosa, though. The road that joins Stillman Boulevard on the corner of the First African Baptist Church is called T.Y. Rogers Avenue in his honor. Tamika?
Thanks, Travis. Students at the University of South Alabama are mourning the loss of a friend. This after the university experienced what a spokesperson says is a campus tragedy. WVUA's Molly Mitchell has more.
18-year-old Gilbert Collar from Wetumpka was a freshman at the University of South Alabama. His unusual behavior forced a campus police officer to take action early Saturday morning.
The man repeatedly rushed toward the police officer and verbally challenged the officer in a fighting stance. The officer, with weapon drawn, ordered the individual to halt. The officer retreated numerous times in an attempt to calm the situation. The individual continued to press toward the officer in a threatening manner.
Collar was fatally shot by the officer. Friends and other peers are mourning his loss, and they are shocked to learn how their dear friend lost his life.
You could ask anyone that knew him. He was a great, loving guy. He always made people smile. You know, he's not the kind of guy that people knew him and said he would do something like this. I mean, everyone from my hometown is you know, expressing the same shock that I am right now. We're all very sad that this happened, and we're very, very upset. It's just something that no one expected.
Aside from the sudden loss, peers are concerned by the drastic action the officer took.
Really, it just upsets me that there's no other way to apprehend an unarmed student rather than shooting him. I don't understand that.
Reporting in Tuscaloosa, Molly Mitchell, WVUA News.
A candlelight vigil is scheduled for tomorrow evening at Wetumpka High School. Alabama Supreme Court candidate Roy Moore says same-sex marriage will lead to the ultimate destruction of America. The Republican nominee for Chief Justice made his comments during a Tea Party rally in Fort Payne on Saturday. Moore says same-sex marriage will lead to the nation's demise because it attacks the nation's foundation. Moore says the Democratic National Platform is divisive for supporting same-sex rights. Moore's Democratic opponent for Chief Justice Jefferson County Circuit Judge Robert Vance says same-sex marriage isn't an issue in Alabama. He says that's because the state has a constitutional amendment prohibiting such unions. And speaking of the election, November 6th is just around the corner, and so is the deadline to register to vote. The final day to get in your voter registration is set for Friday, October 26th. The final day to get in your absentee ballot is Monday, November 5th. The election is set for Tuesday, November 6th. Girl Scouts across Alabama will come together next week to grow their knowledge. It's called STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. The Girl Scouts of North Central Alabama are hosting an event called STEMPalooza in hopes to help girls learn more about these areas. Hillary Perry with the Girl Scouts says the event hopes to show the girls how interesting these fields can be.
Girls are very underrepresented in STEM fields, and they typically lose interest in about the 4th or 5th grade. And Girl Scouts is actually a STEM advocacy champion for the Girl Scouts of the USA. So we are taking the opportunity to showcase all the cool things that science is about.
The Girlapalooza is set for this Saturday, October 13th from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. at Shelby Hall at the University of Alabama. Deadline to register is tomorrow. It's $2 per person for girls ages 5 to 17. Well, covering Hale County, another big event going on this week is the Moundville Native American Festival. This is the festival's 24th year. They have activities for people of all ages, from toddlers to adults. WVUA's Courtney Highfield tells us how this year's organizers are hoping to change people's perspectives.
Moundville's Native American Festival starts in just a few days, and this year, coordinators of the event have a big message.
There are so many stereotypes out there still of what Native Americans are. You know, you have Irish Americans, and you have Dutch Americans, and you have all these different ethnic groups. Well, nobody gets them mixed up.
My basic thing is just trying to break up the stereotype of what people think about the indigenous cultures that were here.
Irwin hopes people will realize what they hear isn't always the truth.
You know, a lot of people think that people in the Southeast ran around with on spotted ponies with headdresses.
And they say Moundville is the perfect place to teach others about Native American cultures.
Really have a jewel kind of in disguise in Alabama.
At its heyday, Moundville was a 300-acre village with thousands of inhabitants.
We can go on ahead and learn a lot more about the culture, about the Mississippians that were around here, how they built the mounds and what was in the mounds and what all the little pottery shards are.
The Moundville Native American Festival starts Thursday and runs through Saturday. Reporting in Tuscaloosa, Courtney Highfield, WVUA News.
For tickets and reservations, call 205-371-8732 or log on to moundville.ua.edu. Well, turning now to the weather, let's get a first check on Alabama's home team forecast with Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott. Richard, I tell you, it's feeling a lot like winter out there. When is it going to warm up?
Yeah, it'll start to warm up tomorrow, Tamika. And by the way, good Monday night, too, down to 52 now in Tuscaloosa, 47 in downtown Jasper. And, hey, it's just plain cold out there across the state of Alabama, and signs of change are there. Now, it's going to start warming up tomorrow. We'll deal with ample sunshine. Temperatures back in low 70s, but the clouds we had this evening starting to break up out there, and that's allowing temperatures to cool off. The radiation cooling, that process maximized tonight and tomorrow, but with ample sunshine, warm up quickly. Now, starting off tomorrow morning, here's that bus stop forecast. Yeah, 40 degrees, a cold start to the day with a mostly sunny sky. What about the rest of the forecast and your weekend forecast? Weather straight ahead. Stay with us.
Thanks, Richard. If you've ever been to the Tuscaloosa Public Library recently, you might have noticed a few new faces around. During the month of October, the Heart Gallery has a display of Alabama children that are up for adoption. WVUA's Mary Beth Harrison takes us to the library to check it out.
When you hear the word adoption, you probably don't think of a library. But throughout October, people can check out more than just books at the Tuscaloosa Public Library.
The Heart Gallery is basically portraits of children who are free for adoption. That means that parental rights have been terminated.
These children are just a few of the thousands of children in foster care, right here in Alabama.
There are a lot of people who do international adoption and pay a lot of money, but at the Department of Human Resources, we do want the community to realize that we do have children from our own state who are available for adoption and who are wanting an adoptive parent. They're not having to go to a different country and learn all new culture.
According to HeartGalleryAlabama.com, over 5,200 children in the state of Alabama are in foster care, and over 500 of those, like the children you see behind me, are up for adoption.
And I've been a foster parent for about 15 years.
Really?
And I love it.
Foster parent Sarah Brazel says being a foster parent is more than giving a child a place to live.
Loving, because most of the kids, they just want to be loved, and they really don't know what love is. They haven't been loved, they haven't been shown love. But I think when you raise one in that person's heart, yeah, you are the mothers.
Reporting in Tuscaloosa, Mary Beth Harrison, WVUA News.
Along with the pictures at the library, you can also find information on classes and the process of becoming a foster parent. Over 400 children whose portraits have been shown have been adopted through the Heart Gallery. Well, on WVUA News at 10 return, the vice presidential candidates are prepping for their first debate. We will have the details. And Alabama is getting prepared for a trip to Missouri this weekend. Gary Harris will have the latest on Crimson Tide football coming up later in your home team sports.